What's stopping you from producing a great track or putting a beautiful arrangement together? The answer to that question should be nothing. Today we're going to talk about how you can put a track together in any DAW of your choice. You don't have to be a musician, you don't have to be a master of music theory, and you don't have to necessarily know how to play an instrument, although it would come handy. And since you're here, I'm assuming that you already do. I would assume that you already know how to play an instrument, and that's going to come in handy, even though that's not going to be utterly necessary. So let's get to it. So first, before we do anything, the first thing that we need to do is try and identify what kind of BPM we're gonna be producing a track in. And more important than that, obviously, is an idea that you need to have. Now, you can pen down your ideas or you can just have them in your head. Some people are not good at keeping ideas in their head, like me. As soon as I have a great idea, I make sure to record it somewhere, either in my phone or in my DAW on my computer. The best way to find out which BPM you need is every DAW is going to have a tap function. The one that's right here, if you can see at the top left, it says tap. So what you can do is whatever idea you have, so play it in your head and just tap it and try to find out the BPM. So I have this idea of an aggressive kind of a track, or which can be used for rap vocals or just as a background score for something. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tap the BPM to that. Okay, let's see. The next thing we're going to do is trying to put some chords together. So the first thing we need to do is either we can put in a beat, a good beat, or what we can do is we can just try and put some chords together so we have a basic chord pattern or chord progression or whatever you want, over which we can create a track, or you can just have a simple melody, as is in this case. So I basically just have a simple melody in my head that I'm going to put down over here, and we're going to see how it comes out. Okay, so let's get started. Now, first things first, this is by using plugins. So I'm not going to be using any live instruments, maybe some guitar. I just have this thing of a droning note in my head that I'm going to put, but let's see how it goes, and we'll see if I want to use my guitar or just my MIDI controller to do it. I have this melody in my head. I'm going to try and record it here on the DAW. I'm going to use a synth plugin, and I have Anna 2 by Sonic Academy. Okay, so that's not the sound. I'm kind of imagining a bell sound, but let's just see if we can find it. But you don't have to have the same plugins that I do. You just need to have something that you can use to put your melody down, okay? So whatever works for you, whatever sound works for you, whatever you get it from, it could be a live instrument, it doesn't have to be a MIDI. Just your idea needs to be recorded, that's all that matters, and then you find the right sound for it. Okay, so let's see if this works for me. Oh god, no. Okay. Yeah, this sounds more like it. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna just try and quantize it. Let's see. And let's see how that sounds. Okay, awesome. Now since it's repeating, I'm just gonna keep one bar here, because then whatever I need, however long I need it, I can just duplicate it like that. So okay, so now the next thing we're gonna do is kind of put together a chord progression on that. So the notes that I'm using, now it's not important, you don't have to know the music theory of it all. You just need to know how things sound in your head. Music theory is basically a tool. It's just going to help you to get to things faster, right? If you get stuck, it's going to get you out of the jam. But More importantly, mostly what you should go with is what you have in your head, because you should not let music theory or anything else diminish the idea that you have. Make sure that you hold on to that. Okay, so we're gonna need another. So we're gonna add another MIDI track, and on this, I'm gonna use the same plugin as I did earlier, and I'm gonna try and find some chords for myself. Wait, switch to MIDI. Okay. So what I'm imagining is kind of like a brass instrument. So I'm gonna go into brass here. Okay, yeah, that would work. Okay, so that's all I need. So it's kind of a trumpet, it's kind of a brass. So when you let go of the keys on your MIDI controller, it kind of makes a sound as well. But that's not a problem. Now let me just duplicate this. Okay, it's not gonna hurt. Let me turn on the metronome and let's record. Okay, this is actually a little too slow for me, so maybe we'll just crank it up a tiny bit. Yeah, that's more like it. Ready? Okay, so we've got our chords, and you don't have to worry about the sound that it basically makes when you let go of the keys, because you can always correct it since it's MIDI, and we're gonna do just that. Okay, so right now, if I play it, it's gonna sound something like this. You hear it? Let me solo it out. Okay, so what's happening here is the notes are not of the same length. Okay, I'm not gonna quantize this one, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that all the notes are basically the exact same length. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same with this one. Okay, cool. Let's take a look. Okay, now I'm gonna duplicate it and see how it sounds. Yeah, it's sounding okay. It's just that I need something more of the same sort to back it up. Yeah, that would work. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, all together now. Okay, a bit better. Awesome. Now the next thing to do would be to put a beat on it. So for beat, I'm gonna be using some samples. So I've got this great sample pack. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys. It's completely free. You can download it, check it out. It's awesome. So I go in something like this, and then maybe I go to kicks and I listen to some kicks. So there's got to be a lot of listening. I got to find some snares and kicks and stuff. So we'll meet back here once I have the entire rack ready. Okay. Okay, cool. So I have the entire rack ready here, and I've basically put them on the first octave. So let's. Right here. Okay, so we're gonna put a beat together for it. Loop a certain section where we can put a beat. So we'll just go ahead and take 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So I'll insert a MIDI track here, and we'll go ahead and now create our beat. So now we'll go ahead and create our beat. Okay, so I'm gonna loop this. Okay, so this is gonna keep playing, and behind this I'm gonna go ahead and try and put my beats together. So again, this is a part where you need to imagine stuff. You can just copy exactly as I'm doing right here. You can see the elements that I'll be using, the percussion elements and the kick and stuff, and you can use them exactly as you want. And then you can improvise further in order to learn if you don't know how to put a beat together. I'm gonna need kicks here. Yeah, that sounds good. Now I gotta move these. The other one will go here. Now let's put some other percussions in. So maybe I'll put yeah, that gives us some sort of perspective. Okay, so I'm gonna need that on 3. Okay, so I've got the kicks and the snare laid out. Okay, so I've got this. Yeah, I'll put that in there now somehow. I think that should be enough. This section sounds kind of empty, and I think I can spruce up this part using the triangle. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think it can use some triangle. Okay, and we'll just try and randomize this. Okay, that should work. Yep, you can barely hear it, but it works. Okay, alright, so next we gotta focus on hi-hat. So this one. Yep, sounds human. Now let's listen to it with the rest of it. Okay, Now there's just a bunch more things that you can do, but we'll get to them later. First, let's just go ahead and try and put a track together. So we've got our elements here. Now what else do we need? We need to set it up in such a way that it sounds compelling. It sounds like really good. So I'm gonna need an intro where there are no beats. So we'll just get rid of that. I'm gonna put that at the end. It's gonna go here. Okay, and that's gonna go there. Okay, let's see how that sounds actually. And obviously no beat. Okay, sounds good, but how about maybe just the melody and the basic thing and not that? Okay, sounds good, but how about just the other richer chords? Maybe how about we start with that? Yep, sounds a little better. Alright, now something's missing here. Also, if I want some kind of gap, so we'll talk about that later. So let's just put something here first. So maybe I'll add a new audio track, and I'm gonna look for samples again. I'm gonna try and find a good sample. Again, it's gonna take some time for me to find some effect. Yeah, that's gonna be a part of. Okay, we'll put that somewhere here maybe. So let's hear this one. Okay, so I'm gonna need that to occur twice. Okay. Okay, I need one more sound. Yeah, that would work, but it's a little slow. And I think if I get rid of yeah, that sounds more like it. Let me just try and consolidate that. Okay, put that there. Okay. Alright, that sounds fine. I think it sounds cool, it sounds okay. It's just that this beat, if I want to give it some gravitas after the 28th bar, I'm gonna need for it to not be so full right at the beginning. Okay, so it's not it's okay, I guess, but it's not transitioning, as in giving the effect or the you know the hint of transition there. So I'm gonna have to play around with them notes, and I guess what I'm saying is, let me just make a few changes here. Okay, now it's making a difference. I can use one more, some kind of woof or reverse kind of an effect. No. Yeah, that would work. Yep. Yep, that sounds better. Okay, so now that I've got the transition in, the next thing I'm gonna do is create a break right here on the 20th bar, and maybe I'll take half. This time I'm gonna let the lead ring in, but I'm gonna take half of all of this. I'm gonna deactivate it right there. Yeah, and I'm gonna use the same effect, the exact same effect as I did earlier. And okay, let's hear how it sounds. Okay, sounds decent. Now the next thing we can do is we can add instrument here. I'm just gonna go ahead and try and record some kind of a droning note. Maybe that just kind of, you know, repeats itself. So I have C, A, and G in there. I'm gonna be using, yeah, A would work. Alright, now let's get rid of that delay. Okay, now I need something for this part as well. I'm gonna punch in and I'm gonna record a little riff with just 2 notes in there, not many. So let's see. Okay, I think we got it. Let's see how that sounds. Let's hear the second bar. Okay, I'm gonna take this one. So let's turn the lead and everything on. Now we're gonna make some variations, so let's see if I just let it run for say 4 bars up to here, and after that every second half of every bar, so starting at this point. So let's hear it from the beginning. Let's see how it sounds. So you see how there's a variation in there. There was a transition, there's an intro, and the beat basically goes on quite nicely along with that. And also you can have the variation for as long as you want or as little as you want, depending on if you're going to put some vocals in there, like you're going to rap on it, or maybe just creating an instrumental. So it depends. So let's hear how the second transition sounds when the beat kind of has the hi-hats kick in. Yep, so there it is. So the entire track has been created. I'm gonna create another video where I'm gonna be using the same track and we're gonna try and mix and master it. So stay tuned and look out for the next video, and thank you for watching for this one. Take care.